It's pretty hard to overstate just how ubiquitous Flash Player was for most of the internet's lifespan. In fact, we've only been without it for 5 years, but it was otherwise commonplace for 24 years. In the interest of public safety, Adobe, being the universally loved company that they are, put Flash Player down like a pit bull with rabies by the end of 2020. And it has since been superseded by its younger, more attractive cousin, HTML5. Though there was something inalienable about Flash, especially after 10, 20 years of it existing, and that was its cultural impact and the way we remember it still today. It could be argued, though I don't often find myself arguing with random strangers about the HTML5 protocol, that Flash opened the door for amateur animators, developers, and otherwise aspiring internet creatives in a way we haven't seen since. Now, if you're not totally familiar with what Flash was, I'll give you like a 30-second breakdown. Adobe Flash was a multimedia platform used in the production of animations, games, and other often web-hosted creations. Flash Player was baked into web pages and allowed the end user to view whatever Flash creation was inside. It was the way most of us played in browser games for most of the internet's lifespan. Wow, remember those? I remember my cousin coming over and showing me games4girls.com before insisting that I couldn't go on it because they would know I was a boy by watching me through my webcam. Anyways, whether it was games, animations, music loops, Flash could be used to create every type of internet content imaginable. Like every type. There were no limits. That being said, it was literally everywhere in the early days of the internet. As such, it wasn't just used to host Peppa Pig, Pop and Spell, but also Torture Bill Gates. Not only educational content, like The Mysteries of Life with Tim and Moby, but cathartic releases, like Interactive Cutie Nui. I could do that joke endlessly, so I'm gonna stop now, but the point is that Flash saw an extremely wide range of content, and since it was so easy for the average user to create or animate in Flash, it saw some particularly creepy content through the years. Some intentional, others not so much. In this video, I just want to go through some of the weirdest or creepiest finds I've come across while searching through modern archives of Flash content. As always, a quick disclaimer, some of these are disturbing and some contain adult themes, so you've been warned. Justin Bieber tooth problems. Let's start with one that's pretty tame. Unintentionally creepy, but nonetheless quite unnerving. For some strange reason, and I know I'm not the first person to talk about this, there were some strange but popular categories on websites like games4girls.com. One of those categories was dentistry, because nothing screams Games for Girls like the harsh drilling of a young Justin Bieber's teeth. Here is Justin Bieber tooth problems. I'm not going to dwell on this one for too long because it's not really supposed to be creepy, but it just is. I mean, look at the poor guy. There were dozens of creepy dentist games I could have chosen for this segment. It was a strangely popular category, but I chose my favorite. I understand this is supposed to be a nice game for Justin, but I can't really figure out how to beat it, so he's kind of permanently stuck with a basin of water in his mouth and a couple of teeth missing, but otherwise, you're looking good, buddy. Poor Justin. At your worst, you were the lowest category in Happy Wheels Spikefall, and at your best, you were forced to gaze unblinkingly into the eyes of an amateur web dentist with no degree. I do not envy your internet presence. Sabrina01.swf. Okay, now we get to some more uncomfortable stuff. Most of the particularly creepy entries in this video are found in the recesses of 4chan. 4chan has a board called F. It is specifically for posting and sharing Flash content. 4chan, being its lovely self, took no delay in filling the board with some pretty unconventional content. Most of it I genuinely can't show you on YouTube. but there were some entries that were creepy, but also safe enough to share with you. The first is a flash called Sabrina01.swf. It's a short video, but uncanny enough to make you feel uneasy. I'll just show it to you. Maybe it's strange to say, but one of the creepier parts of the video comes, to me at least, in the fact that this is like a full skin-tight bodysuit. You can see in the final shot a seam going up her hand, and the tights sort of stretch a little as she climbs. I don't know, it just makes me kind of claustrophobic to realize that there is no room for any of her skin to breathe. It's like the Springtrap suit. She's no longer human, only anime, with those big, creepy eyes. One thing that's important to remember is that most of the content posted to F is not necessarily original. Most of these games, animations, or loops are taken from elsewhere and re-uploaded here. In the case of this video, I was able to trace a source back to the site sabrina.jp. It contains some other very similar videos that I cannot show you because they are too suggestive for YouTube, but they all still have that same creepy uncanniness to them. It must be said that clearly a lot of work goes into these costumes, and I can't imagine how expensive one of those heads are, especially if the furry community is anything to go off of. So there's definitely a sizable audience. Nonetheless, I'm impressed, horrified, and bemused all at once. Now everyone, say goodbye to Sabrina. Liquid Mistress, Liquid Nikki. Continuing the trend, here's some more strange fetish content. My favorite sort of online fetish content is the kind that's so absurd it's often not even explicit. I'm talking blueberry inflation, driving in high heels, pinky fingers. Most of these, while at times gross, are not necessarily disturbing. But there's something about finding a flash like this amid all the others in an archive with 0 wiki entries and no source to be found. Let me show you. Yeah, Liquid Nikki is not some obscure Metal Gear Solid character. It is actually the rapper Nicki Minaj, melting into fluid and reconstituting as Kim Kardashian. Liquid Mistress is even more unnerving. The low quality and lack of audio kinda just fills me with dread. I don't know, maybe I'm alone in this, but I find these pretty freaky. Maybe you do too, maybe not. Either way. I tried very hard to find a source behind these animations or even the artist, and I came up short. So, mysterious man who wishes to be dominated by a non-Newtonian mistress, thank you for your disturbing contributions. Backbeard.swf. Before I get into why this one creeps me out, I'll first just show it to you. Backbeard.swf is a simple loop of an eye compounding infinitely outward like a fractal. Veiny, monochrome, and on its own pretty freaky, though I didn't include it in this video for surface level reasons, as something within seems much more sinister. On the 4chan F archive, you can view the wiki for each flash, which is basically just the context in which it was posted. Anon1624805, the original poster of the Flash in one 2012 instance, says, OP here. I am royally scared shitless. I saved this from shoopdawhoop.com because it was a loop of an eyeball within an eyeball and so forth with disturbing music. And when I play it here, I get a lady stabbing her eye out. So I was immediately intrigued. This is like a creepypasta, but maybe real. Like, instead of, I found a cartridge of Star Wars Episode 1 Racer at a garage sale, and when I put it in my N64, Ben Quadinaros appeared, and his eyes were bleeding, and it was hyper-realistic. It's a mysterious online flash loop that only displays gore for some unlucky users. Spooky. I was desperate to find this scary hidden secret, so I decompiled every instance of the Flash I could find on the archive, but no eyeball stabbing was to be found, which is kind of even creepier. This really feels like a strange urban legend that could be true. Though another Anon posts later in the thread, oh yay, it's this Flash, again. It's the movie Naked Blood. It's a terrible movie. Which checks out. This was a Japanese horror film from the 90s that did have a scene as described. I'll let you find that on your own if you're interested. Real or otherwise though, I find it kinda spooky that this Flash just might have its own sinister little Easter egg. Before I move on to the next one, I did research the eye animation just a little, and I found an entry in the Terror Amino that describes backbeards as dark eyes that move in the shadows, which also checks out. I couldn't find much else though, so if you're hip to backbeards, tell me what I'm missing in the comments. Kowai, www. Kowai, not kawaii, means scary or frightening in Japanese. Kusoi means shit. Combine them together and what do you get? I'm not exactly sure, but one possible answer is this strange Japanese horror game I found in the Flashpoint database. After a very simple menu, you are thrust into what appears to be a classic escape the room type Flash game that was pretty popular at the time. Though this one is far more minimalistic. In fact, you can't interact with anything. All you can do is turn and turn. Jump scare. But I bet my card that you won't guess what happens next. Yup, it's a rhythm game. A very rudimentary one with only 3 songs, one for each wall without a door, but fun enough that I did go out of my way to beat them all. It's sort of like Osu, except instead of Osu-chan appearing on the sides of the screen to cheer on your combo, it's this freaky guy who bobs his head with the rhythm. I'm not sure if this one is as scary as it is amusing, though I will say that jump scare did get me the first time. But nonetheless, I thought it was interesting enough to include in this video. Sadly, I can't show you too much of it, not for horror reasons, but because of the Digital Millennium Copyright Act. Thanks a lot, LimeWire. Okay, so those are some creepy Flash finds found in the archives of the internet. There are definitely more out there, but I will warn you they are going to be found amid some seedy content, so seek them at your own peril. If you, like me, were raised on Newgrounds, I'm sure you have many fond Flash memories, so please share them below. And if you think there's any animations, games, or loops that I missed in this video, please share them with me. I am always on the hunt for more creepy internet content. Thanks a lot for all the love on that Screamer websites video. I had a great time making it, and you guys have all left me some wonderful comments, so I'm very excited to keep making stuff. So if you did like this video, it really helps if you like and subscribe. That being said, I'll leave you with one Flash loop that was short, sweet, but not creepy enough to make the list. Thank you very much. I love you. Bye bye.